All right, welcome everyone. We are going to talk that S word. Sports. I know. I'm excited. Specifically, it's that time of year. Well, I guess August is not really that time of year, but hockey is back August 1st. We will have NHL playoffs, and it's a beautiful thing, and I am excited about it. And joining me today is my good buddy, Chris Pale.
Hey everybody, excited, can't wait. Hockey playoffs is the greatest sports playoffs ever, and I'm amped to have finally some sports back.
And it's going to be interesting to watch it without the fans, and we will get to that. But before we go there, let's talk about how the NHL is going to do this. So they picked two bubble cities, Toronto and Edmonton. The Scotiabank Arena in Toronto will be where the Western Conference will be playing their games. And you'll notice that Toronto is actually an Eastern Conference team, so they're making the West Coast play there. And then the Rogers Place in Edmonton, where we'll be hosting the Eastern Conference. And again, they're trying to separate that so that no one has home team advantage. There is no home teams. I mean, there will be when the playoffs start based off of the rules and the side changes and the first lines changes and so on. But other than that, no one has a home field advantage. All right, so exhibition games. Does anyone want to watch those? Actually, normally I hate exhibition games. Chris, do you agree with me on that?
Yeah, normally we wouldn't care.
Yeah, but right now I would like to see some exhibition games because I haven't seen any sports in God knows how long, and no
Super Bowl probably was the last.
Well, that was not as meaningful, but there has been hockey since then, all the way since March.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's been rough. But listen, exhibition games, July 28th, July 29th, and July 30th, and that leads us all the way to the qualifying rounds. Yes, the format is different. We got qualifying rounds. So, what do you know about the qualifying rounds? How many teams are there? What do we got?
We got 24 teams out there. Best out of 5, I believe.
Yes, you are correct. Best out of 5. Short series.
Yeah, short series. So anything can pretty much happen. We have no idea what condition any of these players are coming back in. There's no home crowd to get in everybody's faces.
Well, that's actually something very interesting to me because me and you, we watch a lot of hockey. We've gone to hockey games, but we watch a lot of hockey. When the Penguins, yes, we are Penguins fans, when the Penguins are playing in Smashville, against the Predators, that crowd, you could feel it in the living room. Same thing with Columbus. When those cannons went off, you felt that in the living room. Even Washington. I got to give Washington their red out, whatever they do there, that is intense, okay? There are stadiums that bring the energy, and you got to figure that the teams feed off of that energy.
Yep.
So when you eliminate that factor, how do the teams respond? How do the players respond? How do they get emotionally invested? I think we're not going to see too many fights. I think the fans' emotion goes into the players, and that's where you start seeing the fisticuffs.
Yeah. I also think that it comes down to more the veteran teams that have been there in the playoffs and have composure and maybe don't feed off of the energy like some of these younger teams. I think that gives them an advantage knowing that they are like the Penguins or Washington, who have been to the big show and are they kind of just...
Yeah, the all business teams.
Yep, that's it.
They're able to keep it business-like. Actually, the other thing I was thinking of is, when a player gets taken down and they fall on the ice and you hear the crowd. You hear, oh, right? And all of a sudden the players are looking for the arm to go up by the ref and there's no arm that goes up. I'm curious if there is no one going, oh, did the players argue? Did they notice even that someone was taken down? Also on hits, ever notice there's a big hit the crowd goes crazy, and then a few moments later, there seems to always be another hit, either from the other team, just to retaliate. And I'm curious how that's going to translate without the crowd. So I think it's going to affect the games. And like you said, more veteran players, the ones that are there to just do their business, I think are the ones that are going to benefit from no crowds.
Yeah, that's what I think.
You did mention player shape. I saw an article that Crawford, from the goalie from the Chicago Blackhawks, is unfit to play. So he will not be playing right now. At least I don't know if he's got time, I guess, to get back into shape. But that actually goes ahead, and you figure, who else is going into camp who's eaten one too many hot dogs? Kessel, maybe? I don't know. Maybe that Penn's trade away of Phil Kessel was good before now. But nah, Kessel, he's a beast. He's a good guy. Thank you, Phil, if you watch this video, for the championships. Another X factor in all this are players returning from injury.
Kind of help the Penguins out.
Yeah, who's coming back? Jake from State Farm.
Jake from State Farm is coming back.
Jake Gensel is coming back. He will be ready to go, it seems, unless something changes. And that is actually great news for the Penguins, because he led them in goals, and he's been huge this year. And of course, the injury, shoulder injury, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, I think he went hard into the boards, but he's definitely getting better. All right, now the thing we don't want to talk about, the real X factor, the thing that can turn these playoffs upside down, the coronavirus.
Yay, Canada.
If anyone gets it, if your star player all of a sudden tests positive before a game, and then they gotta, I don't know how that's gonna work, but you can't make any predictions. Vegas must be loving making these lines and the predictions, the odds makers, because
I don't know where they're pulling the odds from.
Yeah, you got to bet on who's going to stay healthy. Are
they putting into a bubble like the NBA? I don't know. How's this all working?
Well, they're bubble cities, but I don't believe they're stuck in a compound. But I believe they're supposed to be not going out and
doing things.
Yeah, going to bars and stuff. So I think they're supposed to be keeping it,
Because originally the cities that were picked up first, big talk was we were going to have it in Pittsburgh for one of our...
Well, Pittsburgh was one of the leading candidates. So was Vegas, actually.
Yep.
But then, not really in Pennsylvania, because their numbers have been fairly decent. Same with New York. But everywhere else in the United States. So I think they just decided, let's get it out of the United States. Yeah. So unfortunately,
I don't know what happens if say, your star player tests positive, you're supposed to play that day. Don't they have to then go and test every single person, quarantine for 2 weeks?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Does it pause the playoffs? I hate that word, pause. Or do you just lose your player? Kind of he's sidelined, and I mean, just going back to the Penguins, because again, Penguins fans. If Malkin and Crosby, knock on wood, somehow get flagged to get tested and they can't play a game, I mean, might as well hand over a win. You're taking out the star players. So it could be, like I said, it's the X factor, and we are going to go through and make our predictions, but we're trying to point out that these are really just predictions based off of what we think is going to happen. But really, the science involved is just too crazy, because you can't look at the regular season. What is that going to do for you? They haven't played in so long. Who's fast starters? Who can deal without having a crowd? Who's going to stay healthy? Who's getting people back that are making them healthy? So it's going to be interesting. All right, so I think we should get at it. The qualifying round. So before we talk about the qualifying rounds, there are 4 teams from each conference who are automatically into the first round, so they don't need to qualify. Could you give me those teams for the East Coast and the West Coast, Chris?
Yeah, we got in the East, we have Boston, Tampa Bay, our good pals in Washington, and the Flyers. Magically.
And the West Coast?
St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, and Dallas.
All right. So those teams will be playing a round robin just to figure out their seeding
Right.
for the first rounders of the playoffs. Okay. So that's actually also going to help them stay in game mode, because the other teams are going to be playing meaningful games. They need to be doing something. They can't just be sitting there and watching. So that will try to help it out. But those games, I believe, have regular overtime rules, like the regular season overtime rules. So they're trying not to stress them out, like it's too much of a real game, but they're still doing something there. And you did point out Philadelphia, and I will say that the Penguins went on that giant skid at the end of the regular season.
Yes.
And that's what propelled Philadelphia, the Flyers, to be in that spot, or else the Penguins would be there. But it might be a blessing in disguise at this point. Playing more meaningful games might get those teams ready to go. All right, so let's talk about the East first. And we're going to start with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens. Chris, what do you think's going to happen in this series?
I mean, I pretty much predict the Penguins are gonna take this. They're gonna take this matchup, even if was Mr. Price even.
Carey Price is going to play, from what I've read.
He might steal a game or two. I mean, the team has won like 17 regulation games in 70 matchups. That's not exciting odds.
I feel like their offensive firepower lacks.
Right, and
Again, compared to the
we have an
Penguins.
inferior and experienced Pittsburgh team
Exactly.
that should just take this.
Yes. Now, again, it is a best-of-5 series, so anything can happen. Like you said, Carey Price could steal. He gets a shutout one game, and
Yep.
all of a sudden,
That's it.
you're
Catches fire. You can't get
Yeah.
anything by this guy. We've seen that happen.
So, what do you think?
Uh,
Pittsburgh in
4.
4. All right. I'm actually, because I am worried about the whole format. You're going to hear me saying this a lot with these predictions. I'm going 5 games, but Pittsburgh wins out. I think it's going to take a little bit to get acclimated to the new circumstances. And like I said, virus is the X factor. All right, let's go on to the Carolina Hurricanes. I almost called them Panthers. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Rangers. Yes, New York. I know a lot of people want to know about that. New York's actually, I think, a team that benefits because Chris Kreider. He was another person that got injured, and I'm not sure fully on the news, but I believe he should be back. And if he is, I think that the Rangers, that's what I'm going with. I'm going to 3-2 series Rangers. What do you think?
I'm actually going against you on this. Even though the Hurricanes were winless against the Rangers, the Canes had crucial injuries that stacked up at the trade deadline. But they made a really deep playoff push last year.
This is true.
I think for some reason they're going to shock.
That was over a year ago.
They're going to shock a lot of people. They're going to do all those crazy things.
With the fans aren't there,
With
though.
no fans. They'll just put it on TikTok.
All right.
And
There you go.
I think they're more.
A bunch of jerks will be on TikTok.
I think they're capable of doing it again on a younger Rangers, inexperienced playoff team.
All right.
And for a minute, I don't know how our good pal behind the net's doing.
Well, he's probably gonna be backing up. So
That's what I thought.
yeah, because
Yeah.
they
'Cause
got the
have-
young blood.
Yeah,
in the net.
that's. I mean, and then
They got 2 young blood in
and
the
we
net.
don't even know because
And
we know how that.
Forgive
can go.
me because I got to look up their names. I don't remember because sports has been non-existent.
Yeah.
So,
So,
how many games?
I think it'll go 5.
So you say Carolina in 5, and I say Rangers in 5. All right, Chris, I'm gonna throw this one to you first. The New York Islanders versus the Florida Panthers. There's the Panther team.
I really don't like the Islanders. Maybe because of last year playoffs.
You really don't like? Oh, like okay, so you don't like them? Not like you don't like them.
I don't.
You don't like them as a.
I don't like
as
them personally.
Yeah, personally.
Personally, I don't like going to their stadium and almost getting killed.
I don't think they like going to their stadium. I think they like playing in the Barclays Center.
But I think with the way they're coached and the way if they play like they did last year, I think they're going to take Florida in 4.
Yeah. And you know what?
They're fast.
That's what I'm going on. I'm going on the speed. I'm going on their goaltending when it shows up.
Yep.
Okay. And I think in a short series, I think that they can definitely win that. I'm going to tease a little bit ahead. I don't think they get too far into the past the first round. But qualifying round, I see them beating Florida also. All right, Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, Columbus feeds off that crowd. Toronto has got some big names with Matthews. I'm going Toronto, and I'm going 4 games. This is my first 4-game prediction. Oh, did I say? Yeah, I said 4 games for the Islanders also. So 4 games for Islanders versus Panthers, and 4 games for Toronto over the Blue Jackets. How about you?
The only thing I have this as a really close matchup. However, I think that Toronto's got a little bit of an edge with a more offensive power, and I think that's what's just going to squeeze them by in 5 over Columbus.
In 5. All right. So you think a 5-game series there. So let's switch gears and head out west. And we're going with the Edmonton Oilers versus the Chicago Blackhawks. And remember, at the top of this, I started off with Crawford being out or unfit to play. I personally just think Edmonton...
With their explosive Conor McGregor.
Let's put it this way. I don't think Chicago wouldn't really be here if the playoffs were normal. So I'm just not buying it. In fact, I actually think break out the brooms.
Yep.
Sweep.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
3 games.
Yep.
Edmonton over Chicago.
Sweep. That's the same thing.
So we agree. All right, I'm going to throw it to you for Nashville Predators versus the Arizona Coyotes with our best friend Phil Kessel.
The Coyotes have a lot of pieces that could make a pretty good playoff run, despite their offensive struggles in the season. I think they have, Taylor Hall, Clayton Keller, Connor Garland, Phil Kessel, among the people that are going to step up and play. But Nashville's been a disappointing team for the past few years, and I think the Coyotes are going to take Nashville in 4.
In 4, okay. I'm a little bit more up on the fence here because I feel Nashville's one of those teams that have more veterans. I think that their window is closing, and I think the Coyotes are young and their window is just opening up. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go 5, and I am going to go with the Coyotes also. You actually converted me. I was going to say 5 with Nashville, but that's how close it's going to be. So I'm going with the Coyotes. All right. The Vancouver Canucks versus the Minnesota Wild. I'll go first on this one, and I'm going the Minnesota Wild in 4 games. Believe it or not, that's upset city for Vancouver. I don't know why. There's just something that's telling me. I have no scientific proof whatsoever. I'm going Wild.
I'm not. I'm so going Canucks, and their top 6 people on that team, and was it Markstrom that's on that team? Had supposedly a really good year. And
but that was months ago.
Again,
you know how short my hair was then?
I have to go. It was a pivotal year for this franchise. They're pumped up. And their top 6 is...
They retired the Sedin twin numbers, I think, right?
That's right. So I'm going to say... I'm saying Vancouver in 4.
In 4. All right. So this one's going to you first. The Calgary Flames versus the Winnipeg Jets.
Let's see. Well, the Jets surprised a lot of hockey fans this year because of the defensemen, last offseason free agency moves. What's the name of the goalie? Connor, is it Heliak or something?
Yeah, I cannot pronounce it.
I think that I'm going to go with I'm going with the Jets.
You're going with the Jets.
Going with the Jets, and I'm going to go Jets in 5.
In 5. Again, this is one of those ones.
I mean,
It's going 5. I feel it's going 5. When you're at 2-2, anyone could take that game, and I feel like the Flames just always fizzle out in a big spot.
always.
It's like I think the Jets are gonna put out the Flames in 5. So, all right. So there you have it. We'll probably be wrong on all of them, but actually we can't because we chose differently, so that's good. But let's just touch up on the round robin, East Coast first. So Boston, Tampa Bay, Washington, Philadelphia. From what I understand, each team is going to play each other once. Okay, there are going to be 3 games per team, and then I guess they're going to rack up the wins and losses, and they're going to seed them for the first round of the playoffs. Just going off of what I saw in the regular season, I feel like it's going to be Boston as the number 1 seed. I feel like Washington will be the number 2 seed. Tampa Bay the number 3 seed, even though Washington and Tampa Bay, I think you could kind of flip them if you need. And Philadelphia will be the 4th seed. If Philadelphia is higher than the 4 seed, that would be quite entertaining. But hey, you never know. Maybe the time off is done well with them. Do you agree? Any comments on that?
I mean, I agree. I think that Philly's going to be dead last, and Tampa Bay, Washington could go either way. Even though
I think personally Boston is the one that scares me the most in the East. As a Penguins fan, I don't want to see.
They were the number 1 seed.
Yeah. So on the opposite side, West Coast. So St. Louis Blues, Colorado Avalanche. I know you like that team.
Yep.
Vegas Golden Knights, Fleury. Come on, buddy.
I was a fan with him.
And the Dallas Stars in this conference. St. Louis, obviously, Cinderella story last year. Can they repeat? Vegas seems to be Cinderella story, when they first came into the league, and they show that they can, go to the playoffs every year. Those are the 2 teams that are the veteran teams, have been there before, business. Colorado and Dallas, specifically Dallas, but also Colorado, those are the young teams. Those are the teams I'm worried about with the no crowds. Also, staying safe, not going out to bars and getting corona or anything. But no, seriously. I think that St. Louis, I'll take either them or Vegas for number 1 seed, and then Colorado. I think Dallas will be the 4th seed. But I think those are all 4 good teams. Unlike Philadelphia, which kind of snuck in there, like I said, because Penguins were free falling, and Philly just took advantage of that. So we'll see how it is. But all I know is please let it happen.
Yeah, let's not get to the day before August 1st, and then boom.
That's what I want.
Thank you for that episode.
I did want to just say some other news, Penguins news. On Monday, 9 Penguins players were sequestered from the team, or voluntarily, because someone they knew was in contact with someone that had coronavirus. So it's like voluntary, just to be safe. No news has come up from there, but that's what I'm talking about. This season is wide open, but I just want to watch hockey. So I don't care who I'm watching, who's playing. I'll get out there and play.
Yeah.
Okay?
Just lock them in a room.
Yeah. Just have them play hockey. Chris, thanks for coming down. We're going to do this again.
Yep.
So after qualifying rounds, we'll rehash. We'll talk about our mistakes. And then we'll do the first round predictions. And we'll have more data there. We'll be able to watch all the games and see actually how these guys are performing and how the games play out. So thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like. And Chris, thank you for coming out.
Thank you.